Hey guys, welcome to another weekly focus. I hope you had a great week. So we've had lots of opportunities from last week and the market has been playing like really smoothly. So let's do a quick trade recap and I'll show you guys the trades I had and the ones I've closed already. So let's start with this. Now let's start with gold. So if you guys remember, during like the previous weeks, I was talking about this gold position, which I held from I think December 19. So right around here, so I first had this loss, then I had another attempt here for the buys. So if you guys remember, I took this buys right here. Sorry, I took the buys right here. Anticipation again on this trade was just to test these highs right here. No, not this highs. The highs are always above this one. So you had this highs, you had another high, close to 27.90 if I'm not mistaken. So the update on this one right now. So the target for this trade was I think 11%. So this is the high I was talking about right here, close to this area of 27.90. So the target on this was 11%. So from here to here was an 11% RR, but I closed the position here at about 9%. Now I could hold this to like, let's say 11%, but because of the way like the swap fees I was incurring on this position already, I decided to close it. So I closed this right here at plus 9%. And I had another position on US30. So if you guys remember as well, I had this one. I've been talking about this as well. Took the buys here. Intention was to test this highest. There's a psychological number here of 45,000, and that's why I decided to cap my buys at that area, because 45,000 is a psych level. Price can reverse from an area like that. So the update on this one as well, got in right here, held the trade all the way to an area like this, and I stopped. I capped my buys at this point at about 3%. So the target on this was like 3.4%, but I capped this out at 3%. So let's look at for today. All right, cool. So once I closed the buy position on US30, I got in on the sales right here, and I'm anticipating like another drop on US30 to an area like this. Now this is gonna be a little bit different once I do the market focus, and I'll show you. So the first thing is I got in a little bit too late, so my entries had to come in around here. But when I woke up and I saw price around an area like this, I decided to go in. But I know if I woke up, let's say an hour or two earlier, I'll have gotten like better entries on this. I'll do the market focus and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at as well. So let's go and start with the beautiful stuff. So here's a DXY, and let's start with the DXY. So I'm just going to start on the daily time frame, and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. So there's like the biggest structure thing you can look at. So if I zoom out on this structure right here, so yeah, let's zoom out on this real quick. I'll show you the bigger picture thing for the DXY. So this is a bigger picture if you're looking at the DXY like from the bigger picture thing. So same structure we've been talking about: impulse, correction, pivot, impulse, correction, and you're expecting a pivot there on the lower time frame. So looking at this price, you're still expecting prices to take out these highs, and there's still a possibility for prices to pull back to this psychological level of 100, and there's this trend line right here. So these two things is very important. If price gets to an area like this, we're expecting buys again to the upside. So for prices to come back to an area like this, you need to see sales coming up all the way from 110 and dropping prices all the way to 100. So I just want to pay attention to the minor structure, which I see right here, and that's something you can appreciate, let's say on the 8-hour time frame. So two questions again: where is price at, and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? So we're looking at this on the daily time frame. I think this will be better on the 8-hour time frame. So same question: where is price at, and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? So price is currently trading between 100 and 110. So you're looking at this move right here. Price is currently trading between 100 and 110. So where is price most likely going to gravitate to? If this move continues, so you had this impulse and you had this violation. So looking at this psychological level here, looking at these highs, price has a tendency to test the psychological level of 110, and an inability for prices to go through 110, you see prices moving to the downside to 100. Or let's say an inability for prices to go through 110, you see a minor pullback, and for prices to push again to the upside. So these are all possibilities. So just looking at this right now, we haven't really tested this area of 110. We came close, we didn't test 110. So there's still possibilities for prices to move all the way to 110. Now if price starts moving to 110, and let's say there's an inability, so you see price moving to 110, an inability for prices to get through 110, you might see a deeper pullback coming in, and at this point you might be faced with some consolidation around an area like this for you to see prices moving again to the upside. So that's something I'm paying attention to on the DXY, and this is on the 8-hour time frame. So I'm just going to show you this again real quick. Where is price at, and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? Price is currently trading between 110 and this area and 100. An inability for prices to go through 110, you should expect prices to push all the way to the psychological level of 100. Now this is going to take some time. So this is on the 8-hour time frame, and you're looking at the same structure, even though it's like a minor structure on the daily time frame. So you understand already this is going to take some time. So my thought process right now is, while looking at these prices, if this structure right here, so let's look at this. So there's a minor trend building up right here, so you can spot this already. So there's a minor trend building up right here, and I'm going to zoom in just so you can see. Oh, sorry. Right here, so there's a minor trend building up right here. So if this continues, so you're looking at a move like this, there's a pullback, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction. So you're looking at this area, there's a high right here. You're asking yourself certain questions. Is price going to test this high? Is price going to test the psychological level of 110? So that's what I'm looking at. That's the first thing. So that's the first possibility on the DXY. I'm going to pin this right here. So that's the first possibility on the DXY. If price keeps respecting this minor trend, which you're seeing right here, and you can look at this trend line as well on lower time frames. So yeah, all the way to like the hourly. So you can watch how price is moving, because if price is making higher highs and higher lows, so if price takes out this area like this, hold on, I'm messing with this tool today because I haven't done the focus thing. I haven't played with the charts in a bit. So if price takes out this area, price takes out this area, price takes out this area, so that's something I'm looking at right there. So an inability, let's say, for prices to go through 110, now you start expecting a sell again to the downside. So you're expecting a move like this to the downside. So the first thing is, when I have a structure like this, the first thing I like to do, or I like to look for, is just completing this first phase. So I'll step down to lower time frames during the course of the week, and I watch how price is moving to the upside. So that's all I'm going to do. I watch how price is moving to the upside, because I have a bias already. I have a directional bias. So what's my directional bias? Price has been moving to the upside. We had a violation. We had this psychological level here of 110. Now, once we get this violation, I'm looking at this highs, I'm looking at this psychological level. Primary bias right now, you get this break and you're expecting prices to have a test of this area and a test of this area. So that's a primary bias thing. So while looking at this, I'm expecting prices on lower time frames to make higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and it's that simple. So if I step now to lower time frames, if I step down to lower time frames and I see an inability for prices to play out this way, so let's say we step down to lower time frame, we see price at an area like this, and you're expecting this pullback and a move to the upside. Once you see this inability, it's going to tell you price is going to move to the downside. So you might expect something like this, and for prices to start buying again like this, buying again, or you expect a further move to the downside. So it's just a lot that can happen once you look at this base right here. So you can even come into a situation where you're faced with this consolidation thing right here. So there's a lot that can happen, and personally, I'm going to clean this. Personally, I like taking it one step at a time. So what's the current structure we're looking at? Where is price most likely going to gravitate to? So looking at this space right here, impulse violation, price is most likely going to take out this highs and test this area. That's it. So once I step down to lower time frames, I'll keep this picture in mind. And if price does something else, then I know how to react and I know what to do. So this is the first structure thing I'm looking at, and I'll stick to the structure right here. So we can step down, let's say, to the 4-hour time frame, and I'll probably not look at the hourly, because again, the hourly is just like for entries. And this is the DXY again. So we're not trading the DXY, we're just using the DXY to get an overall understanding of the directional bias thing. Because if you can pick the direction correctly, there's almost a 60% chance you have good trades. So you're looking at this on lower time frames right here. I'm going to pin this on the chart. So I'm looking at this structure on lower time frames. Impulse, correction, impulse, correction. Normally, this price has to test the psychological level of 110. It has to test an area like this. So these are all areas price has tendencies to gravitate to. Now, an inability of prices to do this, you might see a minor trend. So you might see this minor trend, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, getting violated. So this is what I'm expecting, the movement to the upside. An inability of prices to move to the upside, making higher highs and higher lows, we'll see price breaking out of this minor trend line. Now, this is going to give us more opportunities on other pairs. But again, primary buyers taking prices to the upside, and inability, we see sales coming in. So I'm going to keep it really short on the DXY. So I'm not trying to even get this complex or complicated. That's a primary bias thing for me. If price does something else, so let's say price starts selling, I know what I'm expecting already. And so you might even see temporal sales coming in. You could see temporal sales coming in and you still see the buyers going to the upside because of the overall structure we're looking at. And we still have to test the psychological level of 110. So once there's an inability for all those things to happen, I'll start looking at possibilities for us to sell, because I have it at the back of my mind thing right here on the daily time frame. Once I look at this on the daily time frame and I zoom out, so you're looking at this structure on the daily time frame like this. So remember, this is a structure thing you had on the daily time frame: impulse, consolidation, impulse, consolidation, and you're expecting prices to move and have a test of this area. So once you have the bigger picture thing, like you know where price is most likely going to gravitate to, then you know the roadblocks. You have a psychological level of 110. If this might cause problems, you start scaling down to lower time frames. So you step down to the 8-hour time frame and you know what you're looking at. You know the piece of price action you're paying attention to. So for this week, this is what I'm going to pay attention to. And I need to see this completing, like I need to see this piece of price action dissolve itself completely. Then I'm going to act accordingly. But then I have a primary bias thing already. So you look at the DXY, I'm still expecting this movement to the upside. That's my primary bias right there. And if price does something else, then I'll act accordingly. So 4-hour time frame, same structure. And you can look at this on the hourly time frame as well. Same structure on the hourly time frame. So this is what I'm looking at on the hourly time frame, and an inability for price to make this higher highs, higher lows. So an inability for price to make higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Expect a crash to the downside. But for now, I still have this buyers on the DXY. So let's keep this on the DXY this way. I'll keep this on the 4-hour time frame because it's better. So let's see this on the 4-hour time frame. But you know what? Let's keep this on the hourly. And I'll look at other pairs and I'll tell you guys what I'm looking at. So primary buyers on the DXY again. Primary buyers on the DXY. Movement to the upside. So that's my primary buyers on the DXY. So let's look at this. Now let's take these buyers on the DXY and look at other pairs. Now this is very powerful. The first one we're looking at is US30. All right, good. So I told you guys I have a sell position on US30, but then let's do a top down thing and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at right here. So how is price moving on US30? And this is the daily time frame. So very simple analysis right here. So you have your impulse right here, you have your consolidation, the pivot point was set, you had price taking off, you had a pullback, same thing to this area, you're looking at this, same thing to this area, and we had those buys from here to the upside. And our target on this position once we had the buys was 45,000. Why did we target 45,000? Because 45,000 was the next psychological level we're seeing right there. And on this time frame, I'm doing 45,000. After 45,000, I'll look at, let's say, 50,000. If price drops lower, I'm looking at 35,000. So that's the range I'm playing with on US30 right now. So I'm looking at this structure right here on the daily time frame. We did the buys already. We capped our buys at this area right here, understanding that there's a psychological level at this point. So where is price at currently, and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? Price is currently sat around 45,000. There's been an inability for prices to go through 45,000. So basic knowledge right here, just the way price moves. Once you see an inability around the psychological level, it tells you price is going to move down or it's just going to pull back. So normally, once you see an inability like this around the psychological level, you're expecting prices to move to the next psychological level, which is 40,000. So if you have this anticipation, you need to bring in the second concept, which is the trend line. So the trend lines help you to gauge them. It's like a protective layer thing. So if price has to drop from 45,000 all the way to 40,000 because there's been this inability around 40,000, you bring this trend line in, and now this trend line is serving like the protective layer thing right there. So as price starts dropping, you need to respect this trend line right here. So in as much as I have my sales on US30 right now, and I'm expecting prices, so my target is an area like this. Once you look at the trend line thing right here, it tells you already price might pull back lower, but if price gets to an area like this, you might find some difficulties and you see buyers stepping in again. So that's it. Once you look at something like this on the daily time frame, you have a directional bias thing already, you can step down to lower time frames and start playing. Another thing you can look at is the DXY. What you're expecting on the DXY, you're expecting this movement to the upside on the DXY. So once you step down to a pair like US30, it starts making the structure completely easy for you to see. Now, you're not using anything complex right here. You're just playing with price action, higher highs, higher lows. And sometimes I have it correct, sometimes I'm completely wrong. But as of now, this is what I'm looking at right here on the daily time frame. So we're expecting these prices to move down. So let's step down, let's say to the 8-hour time frame right here. So I'm going to zoom in right now. So this is the structure thing I'm looking at, and I'll show you why I had my sales on this. So first thing, we had price moving all the way. So you had an impulsive buy all the way to 45,000. Sellers reacted from here and you saw prices moving to the downside. We had a buy, and the reason for the buy is we had price pulling back to an area like this. It was a pivot point because we had the pivot point set on lower time frames, on the higher time frame and on different structures already. So we had the buys from this area, an inability for prices to go through this area right here, and I'm looking for sales again to the downside. Now normally I'm expecting, so I have my target around an area like this for us to take out this area, but then I know there is a trend line thing, so price might come down. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we might see a movement thing and you see price moving down, and there's that inability for price to go through, and you might see something like this and you see price moving to the upside. So I know this can happen, so there's this possibility already, and I always talk about this. It's what I call like the impulse, the violation, consolidation, pivot point, and for price to move to the upside. I have this already in mind, so I'm looking at this. So those are the possibilities I'm looking at once price starts selling. So I'm going to clean this again, and so this is what I'm looking at. So normally my bias on this right now in US30 is to take prices to the downside. Now normally I'll expect prices to sell all the way to 40,000, but the reason I'm not calling this movement all the way to 40,000 is because there's a trend line coming from a higher time frame, which we've seen this on the daily time frame as well, even though it's like a minor structure on the daily, but it could be respected on the 8-hour time frame and on lower time frame. So prices can probably pull to an area like this, and you see buys coming in again. So I'm a little bit cautious with this sales on US30. So this could probably be, just look at this, you had this temporal push to the downside and you're expecting the same thing. You're expecting a temporal push or a temporal sell and for buyers to come in again. So that's why this is what I was looking at, why taking this position. So I'm going to step down to the 4-hour, and this is it. So you see my interest right here. So we can zoom in again on this, so I'll just show you guys what I'm looking at. So that's it right there. So I have my interest right here, and my target on this is an area like this. Now, is price gonna get to these lows? Probably not. And why am I saying so? Because price might start dropping and you see this consolidation, so prices can deliver to this area right here, which is a pivot point thing. And if price does something like this, you're expecting buyers again to kick in from an area like this. So I'm currently starting these sales in US30, but I'll be very cautious with these sales, And if I see a structure thing like this, so I see prices selling and I see this inability, and then I'm going to cap my sales. So that is it right there for the sales on US30, or for my directional buyers, or for my analysis on US30. And we'll look at the next pair. Alright guys, so the next pair is NAS100. So this is NAS100 on the daily time frame. Now, quick question, where is price at on the daily time frame, and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? Very simple analysis as well. You can zoom out just to answer the question. So first thing, you have your impulse, you have your correction. That's easy. You have your impulse, you have your correction, you have your impulse, you're expecting a correction. So where is price at, and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? I'll zoom in at an area like this. So price is currently sat above the psychological level of 20,000 right here. So price is sat above this area, which is right here. So then where is price most likely going to gravitate to? The next level I'm looking at is 25,000. So I'm expecting NAS100 to move all the way to 25,000. That's a massive buy, and that's a long distance right there. But if you can get a swing position like this, man, trust me, you could cap, let's say 10% from that move if you get like proper entries with a very good stop loss thing. So now that's a very long distance thing. So temporarily, what we're looking at right here, so if price has to gravitate, so you're looking at this, price is sat above 20,000. Where is price most likely going to gravitate to? Price is most likely going to gravitate to 25,000. How is price going to get to 25,000? You might see some pullbacks coming in for this movement to occur. So you have this already on the daily time frame. So the next thing, you step down to the 8-hour time frame. And so we'll look at this on the 8-hour time frame. And I think I had an analysis on this last week, and I was telling you guys this possible sales. I didn't take this sales, by the way, but I'll show you guys what we're looking at right here. So this is on the 8-hour time frame. So you're looking at the same thing. There's been this impulsive move, there's been this correction thing right here. Now you still need to see prices coming back to an area like this. So you're looking at this right here. So there's a lot that can happen on NAS100, and I'm still expecting temporary sales on NAS100, let's say, for prices to pull back to an area like this, or even just coming deeper to an area like this. So there's a lot of potential right here. First, you're looking at this psychological level. So this is one I'm going to look at, and I'm looking at this psychological level of 20,000 right here. So you see there's a psych level of 20,000 right here. So I'm expecting temporary sales. Now I'm expecting this sales to take out this area. So I'm going to clean this. I'm expecting this sales to take out an area like this, come back. So you're looking at this trend line psychological level. There's a pivot point thing that was set already. So you're looking at an area like this. The pivot was set already. So once you have this in mind, impulse right here, consolidation, and you can get deeper pullbacks, and you see prices moving all the way to 25,000. This is a pair I'm going to pay attention to. Now this might take a couple of days to line up properly. So the bigger picture thing for me on NAS100 is for prices to move all the way to 25,000. So all I have to do right now is wait for these pullbacks to come in. So just be a little bit patient, because it's going to take time for the pullbacks to come in. So we're looking at these prices right here. This is what I'm looking at, and for a movement to the upside. So if you're looking at this, let's say you get an entry around here. As I tell you guys already, this can give you, let's say 1:10, maybe 1:10. That's like 1:7. I'll just say proper, yeah, something like this. I'm gonna keep this on the charts right here. So this is my analysis on NAS100. So this is gonna take time for it to pull back to an area like this. So simple question again, where is price at, and where is price most likely gonna gravitate to? Price is currently trading above 20,000. So what am I expecting on this? I'm expecting a pullback, prices to take out this loss on everything, and I'm expecting the movement back to the upside, provided this area right here, which is the pivot point that was set on lower time frames, provided this pivot point still holds. So there's a possibility prices can pull back to an area like this, and you just get a crash and the price starts moving again to the downside. Again, if you see something like this on the DXY, if this guy keeps moving to the upside impulsively, and you remember we had not just the structure right here. So if you zoom out on this on the daily, it's easy on the daily, sorry, it's easy on the daily time frame to see what I'm talking about. So if this guy keeps moving to the upside to take out this and even push to an area like this, then what we're looking at on those other pairs like NAS100 might not really play out the way you're expecting it to play out. So this is what I'm looking on the DXY right now, this push to the upside and an inability and then a drop and stuff like this. So temporarily on the DXY, you'll see price moving to the upside, you'll see temporal pullbacks and stuff like this. So that's all you need to trade these other pairs perfectly. So as this price starts moving to the upside on the DXY, you're using the same principles right there to trade on this other pair. So you're expecting a pullback here, you're looking at an area like this, and for prices to move to the upside. So this is an 8-hour time frame. I'll look at a 4-hour time frame right here. All right guys, so if you remember from last week, this is what we was looking at. You can watch the previous week's focus just so you have an understanding. So this is what we was looking at, but I didn't take these sales just because I didn't like the price action on this. And if you guys remember, I think I wanted prices to test an area like this and it didn't test it, so that's fine. So I didn't take the sales on NAS100. So this is what I was looking at last week and I was expecting the sales. So there was a minor structure thing right here. So if you look right here, you had price making higher highs right here. I hope this is clean enough to explain. So price was making higher highs and stuff like this, and so my anticipation at this point was a break and a test, and then you see prices drop into the downside. Now I'm going to pay attention to NAS100 because trust me, once these prices sell to the downside, so once this happens and you get the sells, trust me, I'm looking for the buyers. If you get an inability of prices to go through this area, I'm looking for those buyers to come in. So this is it right here. This is what we're looking at. If you're looking for a swing position right here, this is it, almost 1:10, 1:9. If you get good entries, like proper entries, you're looking at 1:10, 1:9 on NAS100. And it's not that complex. You're just waiting for pullbacks to come in. You have your directional bias thing and you know what you're looking at. So I'm going to clean this because this is done already and I'm not interested in this, like the structure thing right here. So let's take this out. And so this is what we're looking at right now. So I'm going to clean this right here. So this is what we're looking at right now on NAS100. So if you didn't get in right here, all you have to do is wait for prices to pull back and you look for possibilities to buy this pair. So where is price most likely going to get to? 25,000. Temporarily, where is price most likely going to get to? So the temporal move right here is for prices to drop to this side level, 20,000. There's a trend line right here. Once you combine that, there's a pivot point set already. You're expecting prices to move to the upside. So that's my analysis on NAS100, and just trying to keep it really simple and nothing complicated right there. So I can clean this. Let's see what's on the hourly time frame right here. So I don't like looking at the hourly time frame because this is just the time frame for my entries. So there's no need for me coming down to like the hourly. So I'll stick to what's happening on the 4-hour time frame. And to watch this closely, I'll just use the 8-hour time frame right here. So this is what I'm looking at. Let's get a push low. Let's get a move to the downside. An inability for prices. So let's say something like this. You get a push to the downside, an inability for prices to go through, and you're looking at a move like this to the upside. So keep it simple. A push to the downside, inability, we're expecting prices to move to the upside. So that's what I'm looking at right there on NAS100. So I hope this is easy. I hope this is not very complex, so it's not like confusing. So that's it for me on NAS100, and let's look at the next pair, another beautiful one, and that's the S&P right here. Very clean structure right here. So what we're looking at on the S&P 500, where is price at and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? So the bigger picture thing on the S&P, so where is price at and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? So just do the same thing. You have an impulse thing right here, you have a pullback, but you have this pullback, which was what I was really considering. When you have another impulse, you have a pullback. So once you see something like this, price has to take out these highs. Where is price headed to? Price is headed to 65,000. So the reason I'm saying price is headed to 65,000 is because we're still respecting the structure move right here. We're still respecting the structure move. So for prices to get to 65,000, you might see price just buying continuously, or you might get another pullback. There's a psychological level here of 6,000. There's a trend line thing right here. So you might see this area getting tested and you see prices moving again to the upside. Now we're not trading off of the psych level and the trend line confluence thing. So once price pulls back to an area like that, which is like the pivot point, we're looking for confirmations. There's setups we're looking for, but the directional bias thing is simple. So this is what we're looking at for the directional bias. Where is price at and where is price most likely going to gravitate to? Price is currently sat above 6,000. And in I believe of prices to drop, we're expecting a movement to 6,500. That's easy. Now the difficulty at this point is stepping down to lower time frames. Let's say the 8-hour time frame. So you step down to this lower time frames and start asking yourself certain questions. So how is this price going to move all the way to 6,500? And so it's very simple. You might see price doing something like this, a movement to like 6,000, which is our psychological level. You might see buyers coming in again impulsively right here, and you might see a drop. So something like this. So this is what I'm expecting on the S&P 500. So you might see a deeper pullback as well. So you might see prices coming in lower and for us to move again to the upside. So something like this on the S&P 500. But simply, I'm expecting a pullback on the S&P 500 and a continuation move to the upside. So the reason you're looking at this, first of all, you've seen what's happening on the daily time frame already. So it's always very important for you to look at the bigger picture. It's important for you to have a directional bias. And once you have a directional bias, you have certain things you're looking at and certain levels you're paying attention to. I think it just makes the whole analysis and the whole focus thing completely easy. Because if you do not have a direction, then it's difficult. So it's the same thing if you're traveling, you need a direction. You need, let's say, a GPS that's directing you where you're going to. And it's the same thing once you're trading as well. You need something, you need a navigation tool. So personally, I use psych levels as my navigation tools and the trend line. So two concepts right here. Simply, you have price currently sat above 6,000. Where is price most likely going to gravitate to? Now, if there's an inability for prices to drop below 6,000, it's just like common sense, and you're using one level to the next level. So an inability for prices to go through 6,000, you're expecting prices to go to the next level, which is 65,000. Now, this is a directional bias thing, and this is the easiest part. So once you're trying to get the direction, it's completely easy. The difficulty is actually spotting the setups and taking those entries. So if you step down to the 8-hour time frame, right here, you start playing this out already. So you're asking yourself questions like, if price has to move to 6,500, how is price going to get to 6,500? Is price just going to continue its movement to 6,500? So you've had this impulse and a correction. So if you might put a trend line thing right here. So you might put a trend line like this, and you step down to lower time frames, and let's say we want to see this trend line on all the way like to the hourly, which is quite okay right there. So if price respects this trend line, we might not even have these deeper pullbacks coming in, and you might see something like this. So price might respect an area like this, and you see price moving, giving you a structure like this. But again, it's the same principle thing, because you have an understanding as to where price is most likely going to go to, and now you're looking for possibilities to get in. So you see, like, there's just three possibilities right there. So the first one, there's a minor trend line thing with like right here, and you can look at this on lower time frames like the hourly and the 4 hours. I'll probably step down to those time frames and show you. So you're expecting this pullback and inability and for prices to move again to the upside, but for some reason, if you get a violation of this trend line thing, I'm just gonna pin this because it's disturbing already. So let's pin this on the chart. Cool. So for some reason, if you see prices taking out this area, then you're expecting deeper pullbacks. Now you have this psychological level here, it might cause some difficulties as well. So you might cause prices to push back, consolidate, and then you see prices moving to the upside. Now, at this point, you're not trying to predict the move. So in as much as I'm doing something like this, I'm not predicting this move. I'm not saying this is what has to happen. I'm just saying this right here is like my bias thing, and this is what I'm expecting. So it mustn't happen this way. So price can do something completely different, But the reason we do something like this is because you're practicing and it gives you these reps, and once you see this playing out, then it becomes easy. And we have patterns we're looking at as well. So one of these is like the patterns we're looking at, just a sharp pullback like this. You're seeing this sharp pullback, you're looking for the buys. There's an entry confirmation thing you're looking at as well. Or you get a break, you get a consolidation, and you're expecting to move to the upside. So once you have these things at the back of your mind already, you have the patterns you're looking at, the patterns you've been playing with, like the reps every time you're looking at these things. Once you see it happening, it's very easy for you to pull the trigger thing. So that's what I'm looking on the S&P 500, and you can step down to like the 4 hours. All right, cool. So now this is on the 4-hour time frame. Let's keep this on the 8 hours, just so we have a clean chart to work with. I'll keep this on the 8 hour as well. Keep this on the 8. No, let's keep this right here. So this is what I was looking at. So I'll take this out from last week. I was expecting this sales to come in. So we had this minor structure right here. So price was making these highs, and you know, if price is making higher highs, then you have progressive higher lows as well. So you had this lows right here and stuff like this. So we had a violation. So once you had this violation, I told you guys we're expecting a violation push and for prices to start selling to the downside. Now this trade right here, I didn't take this sales, so I'm just gonna clean this. I didn't take those sales. So we're looking at this right now. We're done with this structure right here. So this is the next structure I'm looking at. So price is giving us the same thing again. There's an impulse, there's a correction. Price is moving up, an inability of a price to move up. You might see prices crashing, coming down, and for us to take prices again to the upside. Another possibility right here, you see prices holding around an area like this, and you see the movement to the upside. So you just see a continuation to the upside. So long term for me on the S&P 500, I'm still looking for buys on the S&P 500, but temporarily we're looking for sells on this pair. So temporarily we're looking for sells. So right now, looking at the S&P 500, you don't have to panic. Like, you don't even have to get worried and scared, because price is showing you what it really wants to do. So all you're waiting for is, all right, give me that better price or give me those better entries, and I'll take those buys again. So personally, if we get a drop to the downside, taking out this area, we'll get a drop, then we understand we're coming back to deliver, like we're just delivering prices to this 8 hour, or let's say the trend line on the daily time frame. Pivot point set everything, that's what you're looking at. So we're looking for buys off of an area like this. So I'll put this right here, and let's see what this can give us. I like 1:6, which is not bad. That's still good. If you get like proper entries, you might get a 1:8, 1:7. Let's go with the basic one, 1:6 right there. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm just going to pin this on the chart and keep it right there. So if we get a pullback on the S&P 500 to this area, I'm telling you, I'm going to look for those buys, and I'll take the buys. Then if you take the buys, so for example, you get your buys in here, and there's an inability for prices. So you get your buys here, there's an inability for prices to take out this area of the psychological level. You could anticipate this sells again to come in, but you need to trade the directional thing you've seen. Once there's an inability, it's probably going to stop you out, but then you understand what's happening because you had a direction you was headed to. And if price shows you something else, it's very easy for you to switch your buyers and look for the opposite trades or stuff like that. So that's what I'm looking at the S&P 500. Let's keep it simple as well, and then we can look at the last pair. So long term on this S&P one is for buys. Temporarily I'm waiting for sales, so we can take buys to the upside. So those temporary sales, again, watch what's happening on the DXY. So every move to the upside is going to give you those pullbacks on those other pairs. And if this guy pulls back, so once you have this move on the DXY, every movement to the upside is going to give you those sells. Once the DXY starts selling to complete the structure, those guys are going to start buying. So you can play as like a ping pong thing. It's not complex. So that's it. So this is what we're looking at the S&P. All right, guys, let's look at gold right here. So what we're looking at on gold. So this, I think most people have had like really good trades on gold, and yeah, there's not much you can expect from a pair like this, because once it starts moving, it moves and it gives you perfect entries and stuff like that. So where we currently sat at, and where is price most likely going to gravitate to on this pair. So this is gold on the daily time frame. Let's do a simple analysis again just to answer the question. There's been an impulse right here, correction pivot point was set. Everything you see right here is just another impulsive move, but on lower time frame they're still going to give you impulse correction. So while you're looking at gold, you're expecting a pullback and for prices to move again to the upside. Pay attention to what's happening on the DXY, because if the DXY has to move to the upside, it's going to favor this movement on gold like 100%. So here's it on gold, where we sat at and where its price most likely going to gravitate to. We currently sat midway between 25,000 and 30,000. So the quick question is, which level has been tested already? So the 2500 has been tested. So we had a movement inability, 2500 was tested right here, and so we're expecting prices to move to the upside. If you're expecting prices to move to the upside, where is the next level you're expecting prices to get to? I'm expecting prices to get to 3,000. Now, how is price going to get to 3,000? You start looking at the structure, then you bring in the trend line. So the trend line again, there's like a guide, there's like a protection thing right there. So you're expecting prices again to pull back and for this to happen. So this is it on the daily time frame. You have a directional bias thing, completely easy. Stick to your bias until price shows you something otherwise. So that's it on the daily time frame. So you can then step down to the 8-hour time frame, and I'll show you what we can look at on the 8-hour time frame and the possible trades we can take on the 8-hour on lower time frames. So once you step down to the 8-hour time frame, is there a structure thing you can look at that tells you that the bias is coming to an end? So do something like this, very simple. Just put a trend line thing right here. Put your trend line right here. And this is the reason why I haven't taken the sells on gold already, because of this trend line. So how is price moving to the upside? So remember on the daily time frame, you had an impulse right here. We're expecting a correction and for price to move again to 3,000. So this is what you're expecting right here. So once you look at this on the 8-hour time frame, you're looking at this on the 8-hour time frame. How is price moving to the upside? This was very easy. So you had an area like this. Price took out this highs, price took out this highs, this was taken out, this was taken out, kept this right here, this was taken out as well. So this is what price was doing. So you had higher highs, higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. So what you're expecting right now, you're expecting a push like this. So this is the first thing. If you get a push to an area like this and an inability for prices to break through this area, you must respect that trend line. You're expecting prices to continue to move to the upside. So that's the first thing. So if this trend line doesn't get violated, if this trend line doesn't get broken, there's no reason for you not to continue the movement to the upside respecting that trend line, because that is something from the 8-hour time frame. Now, if you're looking at this trend line right here, this piece right here, on the 8-hour time frame, if you step down to lower time frames, you'll be amazed at the structures that you're looking at within this piece of price action. It's a lot of information to play with. So we're using the higher time frame again, and we're trying to make sense of what's happening from the highest time frame. So back on the daily, so you're looking at this on the daily time frame. You had impulse correction thing slow down, so you're expecting the pullback. The reason I'm saying this is because there's a high possibility we can see prices coming back to this trend line, your pivot point and everything, and you see prices moving again to the upside. So this is what I'll expect, or this is what I would like to see. Now, is price gonna do what I want to see? Probably not. But if price does something like this, then my confidence is like 90% for me to take this buys. So the directional bias thing is very important, because you're looking at prices even before it happens, and you're just playing the scenarios out in your head, and if it happens, it makes it completely easy for you to take those positions. So that's what we're expecting on the daily time frame. Now you step down to the 8-hour, and it starts getting like really, you know, like the whole trading thing starts getting simple. Oh, not simple, sorry. You start getting comfortable once you have a simple approach to the market. Yeah, it's not simple, but you can get comfortable using simple concepts. So we're looking at this trend line on the 8-hour time frame. So what we're looking at right here, an inability for prices to move to the upside. You're expecting a break again to lower time to higher time frame. So you're expecting a higher time frame delivery and for prices to move to the upside. How do we get involved in a situation like this? So just like the US30 trade thing, all I'm just waiting for is for prices to violate this trend line give us a pullback, and we're looking for those sells. So I'm going to show you guys. So we're expecting a movement like this, and you can take this and you're expecting those sells right there. So personally, I might get in once this starts breaking out and stuff like this, but to be on the safe side, you're expecting something like this to happen, and you can put your stops above here. So it's gold, and gold move like crazy. So something like this, if you get proper entry, you're looking at 1:5, 1:6, something like this right here. So you're looking at a 1:6 movement right there. So I'm going to put this right here and just arrange this. So this is what I'm looking on gold, and this is going to be my bias thing for next week. So I'm expecting something like this. Now if this continues moving to the upside, I might just look for entries on lower time frames. So that's the first thing. So let's say price starts moving again to the upside, so it pulls back and it moves to the upside. I'm going to show you guys another possible entry for this. So let's look at this. So if prices pulls back to this trend line on the 8-hour time frame, and we see price moving to the upside, I'm just going to be patient, wait for another pullback, because now I know what price is trying to do, and I'll expect something like this. So I'll look for entries again around here. So this is just like a continuation move thing right here for me on gold, and this is what I'll be looking at. And they're all like perfect positions, so they're all like perfect, like they're very good anticipations. So it, like, if this happens, it might give you 1:4, 1:3, depending on where you go in. This I'm looking at, let's say 1:6, but personally I'll need to see, I would like for prices to do these sells before we take the buys. So the reason I'm saying so is because if I get the buys off of an area like this, if we get buys off of this area, we're looking at a crazy move again on gold. So we're not even done with these buys to the upside. So if we get something like this, we're looking at another movement like this. So trust me, you can get maybe 1:10, 1:9 from a movement like this. So it's just you looking at price from higher time frames, understanding what's happening on higher time frames, then you step down to lower time frames and you make your analysis and everything. So I'm going to take this out because that's not happening right now. So I'm looking for sells on this pair. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Did I do my analysis? Yeah. Did I do my focus? Yes. So you do your thing and you let price do its own thing as well, and you guys come back and reconvene and you see who's playing in whose direction, and then you try to hop in. So it's a very simple analysis, guys. It's not that complex. Now look at this move right here. If the DXY keeps moving to the upside and it's not giving you perfect pullbacks for you to get those entries on gold, you might see gold just pulling back to an area like this and crashing. Now if the DXY fails to move to the upside and you see it crash into the downside, it's an early indication that gold is probably going to do this movement right here. So it's going to pull back and do something like this, and the movement to the upside. So I hope it makes it completely easy, guys. So that's it. The DXY, gold, NAS, S&P, US30. I've been watching this pair for a very long time, and the only pair I'm currently trading right now is US30, and I got in really late. I wish I came in like an hour or two early. If I woke up a little bit earlier, I'll have taken like perfect entries on this pair, and I'll have probably been sat on about 1:2, maybe 1.7% in already. So that's a late entry, and I'm just gonna keep it and see how the prices play out. All right, guys, so make sure you watch last week's market focus so you can follow along and you understand what we're doing. We're not just trading off of levels. There's a thought process to everything. So watch the previous week's market focus so it can help you align properly with what's going to happen next week. All right, guys, as usual, stay patient and trade consistently, and I'll see you during the next one. Bye for now.